Hey, so just got done in the gym again, reffing a few games. So I wanted to come and give 3 quick points. How you doing? 3 quick points on defense for your athletes. See, I got a double hat on today because it is ice cold outside. So 3 quick points. For athletes, parents. Get your athletes to understand this. Coaches, get your athletes to understand these 3 things. We're going to put an end to it this weekend. We're going to put an end to it. So the first thing, stop my car. There you go. So the first thing in terms of defense, all right, defense is going to win championships. And so going down the stretch, you have to be able to play defense. But you have to communicate. Please, coaches, parents, get your athletes to understand that they have to communicate. Stop being cool on the court. One of the biggest ways to gain an advantage over your opponent is communication. If you talk on defense, screen, ball, shot, like whatever you're doing, if you're communicating, that's going to affect the opponent in some type of way. They're either going to get nervous, they're either going to get rattled, speed up, or something. But if you communicate, you kind of won really half the battle. So you have to up your communication on the court. Talk to each other, right? Like slap hands, like make contact with each other. That brings you closer together. So the communication has to improve. The communication has to improve on the far end of the court. That's the defensive end of the court. The second thing is this. Please, put your hands up on defense. Put your hands up on defense. Please. Listen, one quick way for a coach to totally ignore you or your athlete is if they have no clue of defensive principles. There are certain defensive principles nationwide, worldwide, that just are. And so like if your athlete doesn't know what a helpline is, or if a coach is saying, again, I always talk about that language, but if a coach is saying, get online with the basketball, or get in between your man and the ball, in between your man and the basket, if they don't understand that and just can't follow basic defensive principles, they're going to get lined out, right? Meaning a coach is going to say, okay, they're not worth me continuing to evaluate them or scout them and going further, recruiting them. So please, one of the cardinal rules to defense when you are on the ball as well as when you are off the ball is to have your hands up. Have your hands up, please. Please have your hands up. All right, so that's the second thing. The first thing, you got to communicate better. The second thing is have your hands up on defense. We're talking about helping athletes get more notice, get evaluated, have a better evaluation, get recruited better by just being able to play defense and understand these concepts. All right. So communicate more is number 1. Have your hands up on defense is number 2. The third thing that will help your athlete tremendously. Now, this is generally for a team. But if your athlete can understand this and then break it down, it'll go so much further. Coaches, I'm going to give you this one. All right, it's called 3 Ps. Okay, I see lots of teams getting burned in transition. They get burned in transition because they don't know what's going on. Here's a quick hint for you. In transition, no one has a man, right? No one is guarding a particular person in transition. All right, so you want to think and understand the 3 Ps. What are the 3 Ps? Paint, problem, person. All right, when you don't get the rebound, when you don't get the offensive rebound and the defense gets the defensive rebound, everybody on the team, everybody now on defense, all 5 uniforms should be sprinting to the paint. All right, the first P is paint. Sprint to the paint because you want to stop any easy baskets. You want to stop any penetration. All right, so you want to get to the paint. And then, you don't have to get all the way under the basket. You understand, within the free throw line extended is the paint. Most schools have it actually painted. You want to get to the paint. All right, so stop penetration and transition, number one. So get to the paint. The second thing is now you want to identify the problem, right? So you get to the paint, now you identify the problem. In today's age, so many people are shooting threes in transition. So when you get to the paint, now the problem may be that they shoot threes in defense. So once everybody has converged into the paint to make sure that you stop the penetration, now you want to start fanning out to whatever the problems is. So let's say that a team has a 7-footer down there. Well, you get to the paint, but now that problem is that 7-footer in the paint. Does that make sense? So you want to kind of move now the 7-footer away from the paint. So just because you get to the paint, now you have to be aware of the problem. All right, so the problem can be that they're able to get easy buckets, that they have a great post player, they have great shooters. So identify the problems. And then the third piece, so paint, problem. The third P is person. All right, the third P. So let's say now you identify that, hey, how you doing that? So let's just say now you've gotten to the paint. And now you've identified the problem that they shoot threes, but now the last one is person. You have to understand which person on that team is good for the threes. It may be more than one, but let's say player A can't shoot threes, player B does never shoot threes, their opposed player C does shoot threes. Well, if all three of those individuals are around the three-point line, once you get to the paint, and then you identify the problems, now you get to the person. So you have to understand which one of those three individuals, A, B, or C, is the person that shoots that three-pointer, right? So let's say the person B was a post player, and he stayed in the post. So now you get to the paint, right? You identify the problem, right? You got a 7-footer still in the paint, ball side block maybe, and you got a three-pointer, like a three-point shooter that's trailing, as well as, let's say, ball side wing. So we want to be able to get to the paint, identify the problems, those two, the three-point shooter as well as the post player, but now we have to get to those people. So everybody is down court. So in transition, it may be your guard may have to guard that post player until we can switch. But again, one of those cardinal concepts and rules to defense is help and rotation. And this is why it goes back to you have to be able to communicate so that you know what's going on. Also, you have to be able to have your hands up, because offensive people can't make that pass through in a half-court set with 5 athletes with their hands up. So get to the paint, identify the problem, and then get to the person. This will help you stop transition buckets tremendously. Trust me. Now, the other two things, they go hand in hand, but be able to, one, communicate with your team, make contact with them, hand smacks and all that. Two, you want to be able to put your hands up on defense. And 3, you want to be able to understand and acknowledge, identify, and get to those 3 Ps. All right. So when the shot goes up, if you have 3 people or 4 people crashing the offensive board, but once you don't get the offensive board, all 5 people should now be sprinting down into the paint. All right, paint, problem, person. Listen, when a coach comes in to evaluate or scout your athletes or your athlete, they can identify, even if that athlete has a bad game, they can identify who understands the game and who doesn't. All right, one of the fastest ways to get lined out or have a coach pay no attention to you is because you just don't understand the game. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed this. Listen, again, if you have an unrecruited or under-recruited student athlete and you want to get help, saving money on college by helping them get a college scholarship and the right college scholarship, go check out my free case study video at b2bsdhoopsmastery.com. b2bsdhoopsmastery.com. Go check out my YouTube page, wherever you're seeing this, whatever platform you're seeing this on. Go subscribe to my YouTube page. There's tons and tons of value in there. From that point, if you want my help with anything, now I have to warn you, it's not cheap to work with us because we don't have a cheap product. We get results done. So if you would like our help with anything, reach back out to me and we can talk about how we can get it done based on the need that has to get done for your athlete, and you are willing to make that investment into yourself as well as your athlete. All right, Coach Carvel Bailey, it's cold outside. I'm gone. Peace.